Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler free review of the new A24 horror film Men. This is directed and written by Alex Garland. Now, I have a very complicated relationship with Alex Garland because Ex Machina is one of my favorite films of all time. I mean, I remember the first time I watched the film and falling in love immediately. I've watched it so many times. It truly is a masterpiece in my eyes. Now, I'm in this boat though. When Annihilation came out, I was so hyped because I loved the first film he made. I was very disappointed with Annihilation. I still thought it was okay. I didn't hate it, but disappointed. And then I attributed, okay, maybe it was disappointed too because maybe he was trapped by jumping into a movie that's based off a book, so it's limiting him from what he can do. That's how I wanted to look at it. Put that angle to just make me still have faith in him, right? Then Devs came out, the show that I reviewed on Hulu, and that was a disappointment to me. It had its moments, but it was okay, like Annihilation. So then, in my head, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm a little worried about what Alex Garland's really capable of. Is he, in my eyes, a one-hit wonder? When the trailer for Men came out, I was very intrigued, especially because he was leaning more horror now, and I was like, okay, let's see what he can do. He's got two strong actors in Jessie Buckley and Rory Kinnear here, and I hate to say this, but I absolutely did not like this film, and it felt like where I started my relationship with Alex Garland was here with his films, and then it was here, then a little here with Devs, and then now it's here. Like, this was just not a good film to me. And I was so shocked how much I wanted this movie to end multiple times, and how much I feel like I just was not enjoying this in any shape or form. And it's strange because you have such a good performance from Jessie Buckley here. Rory Kinnear is very good. He gets the job done. There's still way more of Jessie Buckley. She has a lot to carry here, and she totally kills it. She's a great actress. But, my God, the stuff she was working with here, I did not feel it. It's one of those movies that about 20 minutes in, when you start to realize what's happening, you're either with it or you're not. And I was not with this. I mean, I was like, nope, this is silly to me. I'm not even like going into this where I can't spoil stuff. So in my spoiler review, you'll see it comes out when the movie comes out. I'll release that. I'll go into detail about things that I thought was like one plot hole that was driving me insane, that was so distracting, and two, why this felt more silly to me than the horror feelings and the disturbing feelings I should have been feeling, right? Where when you make something that's you're swinging for the fences, which I appreciate. Like Alex Garland swings for the fences. He's a lot like M. Night in that sense, where they swing, sometimes they hit, it's awesome, and sometimes you can swing for the fences and completely whiff. And I feel like he whiffed here. Like, you could see he was going for it, and I respect that. I'll give him props for that. I'm happy he did that, but to me, it was a complete whiff. Oh my God, like, that line of where something is, really creative, different, and has these horror elements to it, you can cross a line, though, where it gets just outright ridiculous. And this was outright ridiculous to me. And it's interesting because when I was watching it, I'm like, I've had similar feelings watching something like this before, and it was making me so angry. And I was like, oh, I know what made me this angry was Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone. This felt exactly like an episode of that Twilight Zone reboot, where it was not well done, it was silly, and it also was pandering. And what I mean by pandering is that it's so literal, and what it's saying is something that it's doing it in a way that's not in like a way that's really showing you and making you like, oh wow, and like sucking you into that message. It's more just like telling you and then showing you crazy body horror. And there's a lot of flashback scenes which he loves to do in all his work, and you're gonna see an opening flashback scene, and you can kind of, you really can figure out the whole flashback story from the first scene. He puts enough in there, you know what's happening right away. So when you're getting more of them throughout the film, it's not adding anything. And this is what frustrated me a lot. And then everything that happens with Rory Kinnear, again, I was just like, what the hell is this? And if you like body horror, here's a positive. The body horror was awesome, right? It's gruesome body horror. And at the same time, it's really silly, though. Like, it looks sick, but it's silly. And there's some CGI they put in there. Again, I can't spoil what character it is, but I was like, oh, give me a break. Like, maybe I'm being such a snood here, and I should have wore a turtleneck sweater to the screening, but I wanted to walk out. But I didn't. I watched the whole thing, and I'll give it points for cool body horror and great acting. But I just thought there was not a good story to be had. I thought that the placement in the flashbacks didn't serve much because you can figure it out from the first flashback, and that you just kind of sit there and are like, well, how long did this take to think of? Like, was this done as just a concept that wasn't fleshed out? Like, what is this? What is this, a movie? Like, this didn't even feel like a movie to me. So I'm really just pissed off about it. I'm giving it a 4.9, but I usually love A24 and what they do. But this to me is a movie that you're seeing a lot of critics actually like this. And this is what happens a lot of A24 films. But I'm usually on the side of the critics when you see on Rotten Tomatoes, like, the critics give it a high score and the audience scores like rotten, right? That happens a lot with A24. They're divisive, they're polarizing. I am usually on that side of the critics where I like all of them, most of them, right? I will promise you that because this one's getting good reviews, this might be the first A24 one where I'm going to be on that side with the audience. And I am convinced that the audiences mostly will hate this film. Certain people are going to love it, but I think, with the critics that I'm seeing right now, no one's touching on, like, no, I think people are going to walk out and hate this freaking movie. Like, it is, to me, just bad. And I don't want to say that. I want it to be good. It had the pieces to be good. But this is how I felt watching it. These are my feelings. Maybe I'll like it better on a second watch. Unfortunately, that's the news I bring you. But let me know if you're planning to see this, if you're excited to see this. If I just ruined that feeling for you, I'm sorry. But let me know. Let me know your thoughts on his other films as well, Alex Garland. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And please subscribe so you notice my spoiler review that's coming out so I can kind of justify a little more what I'm talking about. And I'll see you next time.